Listen to me. You think you're stuck because life is hard, but the truth is harder than that. You're stuck because you keep lying to yourself. You keep calling yourself busy when you're really hiding. You keep saying you don't have time while you waste the time you already have, and you keep waiting for motivation like it's coming to save you. It's not. You're scrolling when you should be starting. You're planning when you should be producing. You're talking about change while living the exact same day over and over again. You want the results, but you run from the repetition. You want the breakthrough, but you protect the excuses that are breaking you. And deep down, you know it. That's why it hurts. That's why you feel behind. That's why you don't trust yourself anymore. But today is the day we stop running. Listen to me. You think you know why you're stuck. You don't. Not yet. You think you're out here grinding. You think you're putting in work. You think you're busy. But deep down, you already know the truth you're busy because it's the easiest way to hide from the thing that actually matters. You're drowning in activity and starving for progress, and you don't want to admit it because admitting it means you've been lying to yourself. And that's the part you don't want to face. That's the part you keep running from every single morning you wake up and tell yourself, today I'm going to be serious, but then you fill that whole day with everything except the thing that could change your life. I've seen this movie too many times. I've lived this movie. I've watched people talk about dreams they never touch because they're too busy performing productivity instead of producing results. And I'm telling you right now, the way you're moving is the reason your dream is delayed. Stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending you don't know. You do know. You can't know you're wasting time. You can't know you're avoiding the work that actually counts. You can't you've been hiding behind business because real work requires courage, and courage exposes who you really are. And let me show you exactly what I mean because I want you to see yourself in this. Picture this, it's 9 a.m. You open your laptop. You've got one task sitting right at the top of your list, the task that could change your bank account, your career, your future, your family's life. And what do? You skip it. You tell yourself, let me warm up. You start answering messages, replying to emails, jumping into group chats, checking every notification like they're gold. You respond to people who don't even matter. You clean your desk. You check the analytics. You refresh something that doesn't need refreshing. You organize files that don't need organizing. And the crazy part, you feel productive while you're doing it. You feel on track. You feel like you're moving. But deep down, you know you're running from the one assignment that demands your full attention, running from the one thing that requires your full commitment, running from the one task that calls you higher and exposes your fear. And you know why you avoid it, because that task is a mirror. It shows you whether you're disciplined or distracted. It shows you whether you're built for pressure or built for excuses. It shows you whether you actually want success or you just want to feel successful. And most of you don't want success. You want the illusion of success. You want the grind without the gut check. You want the respect without the responsibility. You want the results without the repetition. Yo wada K, sis UCES, low KSLIE, Bayuti, yo you ran Ephraim, wo at UCE Sesra QQ. And that's why you're Tyras. Not because you work hard, but because you're working on the wrong things. You're exhausted from the performance. You're drained from pretending. You're burned out because you're doing everything except the thing you're supposed to be doing. Your problem is not time. Your problem is courage. Your problem is avoidance. Your problem is you have built a lifestyle around doing what feels good instead of what moves you forward. And your brain loves it because your brain is wired to choose comfort. Your brain is wired to chase dopamine, not discipline. Every time you answer a quick message, every time you cross off a small task, every time you do something easy, your brain rewards you. It gives you that quick hit, that little good job, and you fall for it every day. You confuse motion with progress. You confuse noise with results. You confuse effort with execution. Let me help you understand this, because if you don't get this part, you will stay stuck for the next decade. Your brain loves shortcuts. It loves easy wins. It loves anything that makes you FEL productive while protecting you from discomfort. That's why you can spend 3 hours working and still feel empty. That's why you can check your notifications 100 times and still be behind. That's why you can say, I hustled today, and have nothing to show for it. And until you break that pattern, until you stop living as a performer and start living as a producer, no THIG is going to change. Nothing. You can buy the planners. You can watch the videos. You can write the goals. You can make the vision board. But if you keep hiding behind business, you will stay exactly where you are. So here's what I need you to do. And some of you are not going to like this, but you don't need to like it. You need to deal it. I'm introducing something I call the 1R brutal block. And when I say brutal, I mean Bartel. No phone, no music, no multitasking, no warm-up tasks, no pretending, no noise, no distractions. 60 minutes, one task, the task that scares you, the task you've been avoiding, the task that actually matters. And here's the part that separates the winners from the wannabes. If you break focus for even a second, you'll restart TTE horror. Not because I want to punish you, but because you need to teach your brain that greatness comes with consequences. You need to retrain your system. You need to rewire your habits. You need to PROV to yourself that you can sit in the discomfort. You can sit in the pressure. You can sit in the zone where most people fold. This is not about speed. This is not about getting it perfect. This is not about finishing the whole task. This is about becoming someone who can finally do the thing that matters without running. This is about developing the muscle that separates average from unstoppable. I want you to imagine this in your real life, because if you can see it, you can do it. Tomorrow morning you wake up, you sit at your desk, you launch the brutal block. And right when you start feeling anxious, right when you want to grab your phone, right when your mind says, check your messages, right when the excuses start whispering, you sit there, you breathe, you stay locked in, you don't negotiate, you don't break, you don't sage through, you stay in that fire. And when that hour ends, you will feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Control, pride, a limit, power, not hype, power. Because you prove to yourself that you can do hard things. You prove to yourself you can be disciplined. You prove to yourself you can be focused. You prove to yourself you're not a coward hiding behind business. You're a warrior taking responsibility. You become someone who stops confusing movement with momentum. You become someone who stops performing productivity and starts producing results. You become someone who can be trusted with a dream, trusted with a mission, trusted with opportunities other people would die for. You become the person people call when they need results, not just replies. You become the version of yourself you told everyone you were, but never acted like. But it starts today, not tomorrow. Not next week, today. Because you don't have time to waste. You don't have days to burn. You don't have the luxury of hiding behind business anymore. Your future is calling. Your potential is calling. And right now, you're ignoring it because you're too busy responding to everybody else. Stop responding to the world and start responding to your purpose. Stop performing for people and start producing for your calling. Stop lying to yourself. You're not too busy, you're too scared. And fear is no longer the boss. TVY discipline becomes boss. Tau Y focus becomes the boss. Tilde AY, the brutal block, becomes the standard. So here's the call to action. And I'm going to say it twice so it hits your soul. Do the thing that scares you. Do the thing that matters. Again, do the thing that scares you. Do the thing that matters. Your life changes when your behavior changes. And your behavior changes the moment you stop hiding behind business and start doing the real work. You owe it to your dream. You owe it to your family. And more than anything, you owe it to yo. You keep telling people you don't have time, but deep down you know the truth. You do have time, you just don't control it. And the part that really hurts, the part you refuse to say out loud, is that you've been surrendering your time to excuses so long that you can't even see the opportunities you're wasting anymore. You think you're overwhelmed. You think you're busy. You think life is too chaotic for you to start. But listen to me, the chaos isn't the reason you're stuck. The chaos is the evidence you've been stuck for a long time. You say you want change, but you keep living the same day over and over, and you wonder why nothing moves. You want a new life, but you keep living with old habits. That's the loop you're trapped in. That's the truth nobody wants to tell you, so I'll tell you, you're not out of time. You're out of discipline. Let me paint a picture because I want you to see yourself. I want you to feel it in your chest. I want you to stop lying to yourself and finally face the reality you've been avoiding. It's late at night, you're lying in bed. You told yourself all day long, I'm too tired to start. I'll do it tonight. You told yourself that if you could just get through your responsibilities, get through the stress, get through the noise, then you finally sit down and work on the thing that matters. But there you are, the moment of truth right in front of you, quiet room, no distractions, no obligations. And what do? You scroll, you wander, you open apps you don't need, you check things that don't matter. You numb yourself with content because content feels easier than commitment. And I want you to remember that moment because that moment is the reason your dream is delayed. That moment is the reason your life feels stuck. That moment is the truth you keep running from. And here's the part that's going to sting, Grits. It's not that you don't have time. It's that you waste the time you already have. You find time for distractions. You find time for entertainment. You find time for everything that keeps you average. You always have time for the things that don't challenge you, don't grow you, don't stretch you. You want elevation, but you stay loyal to the routines that keep you average. You want a breakthrough, but you won't break up with the habits breaking you down. You want the future, but you keep protecting the past. Stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending that later is an actual plan. Later is not a strategy. It's a prison. Later is how dreams die. Later is how years disappear. Later is how you wake up one morning and realize you have the same goals, the same problems, the same regrets, the same excuses you had 5 years ago. And you swear you're tired of being stuck, but your behavior proves something else. Your behavior proves you're more comfortable staying the same than becoming the person you know you're supposed to be. And listen, I get it. I'm not here judging you from a distance. I've been there. I know what it feels like when you want something so bad it hurts, but you still find yourself wasting hours, wasting days, wasting energy because it feels safer to wait than to try. And I'm telling you with every ounce of strength I have, waiting is killing your potential. Waiting is draining your confidence. Waiting is shrinking your spirit. Waiting is convincing your brain that you aren't ready, that you aren't capable, that you aren't worthy. Let me explain what's happening inside you right now. Because if you can understand the psychology, you can break the pattern. Your brain is designed for survival, not success. It wants comfort, not growth. It wants familiarity, not evolution. That's why every time you decide to start something meaningful, your brain suddenly gets tired, suddenly gets busy, suddenly finds 10 fake emergencies. That's why you lose hours to scrolling. That's why you check your phone without thinking. That's why you say, I'll start when things calm down, even though life has never once calmed down in the history of your existence. Your brain is not sabotaging you because you're weak. It's sabotaging you because you haven't taught it a new pattern yet. And this is why I created something simple but powerful, something that cuts through the lies, something that breaks the cycle, something that forces your brain to obey your purpose instead of your feelings. I call it the next 10 minutes rule. And before you roll your eyes or think you've heard something like this before, listen to me. This isn't about motivation. This isn't about hype. This is about training your mind to take action even when everything inside you wants to delay. Here's how it works for the next 10 minutes, OLY, the next 10 minutes. You do the thing that moves your life forward, not the thing that's easy, not the thing that's comfortable, not the thing that makes you feel productive. The thing that matters, no negotiation, no betting. No, I'm not ready. No, just let me check something real quick. Timer on, phone way, apps closed. No noise, just action, only action. And here's the secret you're allowed to stop after the 10 minutes. If you really want to stop, you can. But 9 out of 10 times you won't because action creates its own fuel. Action builds momentum. Action shifts your state. Action makes you feel alive again. Motivation does start action. Action starts motivation. Let me show you what this looks like in your actual life so you can't pretend you don't understand. Imagine you're sitting on the edge of your bed, overwhelmed, stuck in your head, scrolling for the 20th time. You feel that guilt creeping in because you can't help you should be working on something meaningful, but you don't know where to start. That's the moment right there when the old you usually folds, but now you do something different. And now you hit the 10-minute timer. You put the phone face down. You open the laptop. You choose the task that actually matters. And you start. You don't think. You don't wait for motivation. You DO. And suddenly you're alive again. Suddenly your mind wakes up. Suddenly you're not drowning in excuses anymore. You're moving, you're acting, you're becoming. You become someone who steals time back instead of surrendering it. Someone whose actions finally match their standards. Someone who doesn't talk about discipline. Someone who has discipline. Someone who doesn't dream about a better life. Someone who does it. And I'm going to tell you something, and you might not want to hear it, but you need to hear it. You are the reason your dream is delayed, not life, not your schedule, not your circumstances. Yeah, you. And the beautiful thing about that truth, the empowering thing, is that if wow you are the reason it's delayed, yo can be the reason it accelerates. Yeah, you can be the reason it starts today. Yo can be the reason your whole life turns around in a matter of weeks. But it starts with the next 10 minutes, not next week. Not when you feel motivated, not when things calm down. No, because discipline doesn't happen tomorrow. Change doesn't happen tomorrow. Dreams don't start tomorrow. Tomorrow is the excuse you use to stay comfortable today. So here is your challenge, and I want you to take this seriously, like your future depends on it, because it does. Win the next 10 minutes. Win the next 10 minutes. Win the next 10 minutes. I repeated it because I want it carved into your mind. Your life changes when your minutes change. Your minutes change when your decisions change. And your decisions change the moment you stop lying to yourself about time. This is your moment. This is your shift. This is the very second your story can take a new direction. Take the next 10 minutes and teach E-W-O-K. Because you owe it to your dream. You owe it to your future. And most of all, you owe it to you. You keep telling yourself you're waiting for the right moment. But let me tell you something that's going to hit you in the chest. There is no right moment coming for you. And deep down you know that, but you keep using motivation as a crutch because it allows you to avoid the truth you don't want to face. You keep saying, when I'm in the right headspace, when things settle down, when I feel inspired. But listen to me and hear me well. You are not stuck because life is hard. You are stuck because you refuse to take responsibility for your part in the chaos. You think you know why you keep falling off, but you don't. Not yet. Not until you look in the mirror and admit the thing you've been avoiding. You want the breakthrough, but you avoid the breakdown of your excuses. Let me show you a moment that you know too well. A moment you've lived so many times it should feel embarrassing to hear it back. It's early morning, the sun isn't even up yet, the world is quiet, and for a split second you feel that little spark, that thought that says, I should get up, I should start, I should go after this. You feel it. You can eat, but right when discipline whispers, distraction screams louder. You roll over. You check yourself 5 more minutes. You scroll. You look at everyone else's life while ignoring your own. And before you know it, an hour is gone and your whole day starts behind schedule. And instead of owning it, you tell yourself the same old story. I wasn't ready today. Stop. Stop lying to yourself. Stop calling hesitation self-care. Stop calling fear fatigue. Stop using motivation as your permission slip to avoid responsibility. You keep waiting for the feeling to show up when the truth is the feeling is hiding behind the action you refuse to take. You think motivation will lead you to movement, but you got it backward. Movement creates motivation. Action creates readiness. Discipline creates clarity. You want transformation, but you avoid truth. You want growth, but you avoid discomfort. You want to evolve, but you avoid the silence where accountability lives. Because silence forces you to hear your own excuses echo. And that's the sound you've been running from. That's the sound that exposes your patterns. That's the sound that tells you this is on you. And the hardest thing you'll ever do is admit that your life looks the way it looks because of decisions you made, not circumstances you endured. And there's a reason you keep falling into this cycle. Your brain is protecting you. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you don't care. It's not you lack ambition. It's that your brain hates anything that threatens your comfort. It hates accountability. It hates embarrassment. It hates potential failure. So the moment you consider taking action, the moment you consider doing something meaningful, your brain throws every emotion at you: overwhelm, anxiety, fatigue, self-doubt. Not because you're incapable, but because your brain thinks responsibility is dangerous. It thinks change is dangerous. It thinks the next level is dangerous. That's why you must retrain it. That's why you must interrupt the hesitation the second it appears. That's why you need a tool simple enough to use when your mind is chaotic and your emotions are heavy. And that's why I'm giving you something that will change everything if you take it seriously. The 60-second ownership check. Here's how it works. The moment, the EQVCT moment, you catch yourself hesitating, blaming, stalling, scrolling, or waiting for the perfect feeling, you stop, you take a breath. You give yourself 60 seconds not to think, not to plan, not to negotiate, but to ask one powerful question out loud. What can I control right now? Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not when you're in a better mood right now. And the second you identify it, you move. You send the email. You open the laptop. You start the workout. You fix the mistake. You take the step. No debate. No excuses. Just movement. Just obedience to your future. Because here's the truth, the future you want won't come from motivation. It will come from moments like teach eyes. Moments where you interrupt the old identity and choose the new one. Moments where you override the fear with action. Moments where you decide you're done being controlled by emotions that don't pay your bills and excuses that don't build your dream. Let me show you what this looks like in real life so you can't pretend you don't understand. Picture this, you're about to start something important. Maybe work, maybe studying, maybe creating, but your chest gets tight, your mind starts racing. You feel that old familiar urge to check your phone just for a second. But this time you remember the rule. You freeze, you put the phone down, you whisper, what can I control right now? And suddenly everything becomes simple. You can open the document, you can take the first step, you can move your body forward. And you do it, that tiny moment, that one interruption, becomes the spark that changes your entire day. And here's the best part. Every time you take responsibility instead of waiting for motivation, you rewrite your identity. Every time you act before you feel ready, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your hesitation. Every time you refuse to negotiate with fear, you become someone your future self can trust. You become someone God can trust with more because you're finally faithful with what He already put in your hands. You're becoming someone who leads their life, not someone who reacts to it. So here is your challenge, and I'm not sugarcoating this because you don't need soft right now. You need truth. You need urgency. You need fire. Stop waiting. Start owning. Stop hesitating. Start moving. Stop giving your power to your feelings. Take it back. Take it back. Take IT by CK. Your life will not change when you feel ready. It will change when you take responsibility. And the next time hesitation shows up and it will show up, you look it in the face and you say, what can I control right now? Then you act. Then you become, because you owe it to your dream, you owe it to your calling, and more than anything, you owe it to you. You keep wondering why your life feels stuck in the same cycle, why you start strong and fall off, why you make plans that feel powerful at midnight but feel impossible by the next afternoon. And I'm going to tell you something you're not going to like, something you've been avoiding for years. You're not failing because you're weak. You're failing because you don't trust yourself anymore. And the truth is, you know that, you feel that, you carry that shame quietly, pretending you're fine, pretending you're motivated, pretending you're committed, but deep down you're terrified of your own inconsistency. You think you're battling laziness, but you're actually battling the broken promises you've made to yourself over and over again. And let me show you exactly what that looks like, because I want you to see yourself clearly, not the version you pretend to be on your best days. Picture this, it's the first day of the month, you're fired up, you buy a new notebook, you write out a new routine, you swear to yourself, this time I'm serious, and for 3 days you wake up early, you drink the water, you read the book, you go to the gym, you start the project. For 3 days you're unstoppable, but by day 4 life hits, emotions shift, distractions creep in, and suddenly all that fire turns into smoke. You say, I'll restart tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes Monday, and Monday becomes next week, and next week becomes when things settle down. And the whole time you're telling yourself, you just need motivation, but that's not the truth. You don't need motivation, you need self-trust. You haven't had that in a long time. Stop lying to yourself. Stop calling inconsistency life is busy. Stop calling your collapse bad timing. Stop pretending your follow through is strong when you know deep down you fold the moment pressure shows up. You can't build a championship life with substitute player habits. You can't win big when you quit small. You can't expect yourself to finish anything major when you keep abandoning the minor things. Every time you say you'll do something and you don't, your brain makes a note. We don't finish. We don't follow through. We don't keep our word. And once your brain believes that, it doesn't matter how big your dreams are, because your identity is whispering louder than your ambition. We don't have what it takes. And I'm not saying this to shame you. I'm saying it to free you. Because once you understand the psychology behind your inconsistency, you can break the cycle that's been chaining you to the same level for years. Your brain builds your self-image based on your patterns, not your desires. It doesn't care about your vision board. It doesn't care about your intention. It doesn't care about how badly you want to change. Your brain only believes what you repeatedly prove. And right now, if you're honest, you've been repeatedly proving that your commitment collapses as soon as the excitement wears off. This is why you keep starting over. This is why you keep feeling ashamed. This is why you wake up some mornings with energy and go to bed feeling like you lied to yourself again. Because the problem isn't your dream. The problem is your integrity with yourself. And until that changes, nothing changes. That's why I'm giving you something small, something simple, something powerful enough to rebuild your identity from the ground up, the single promise strategy. And when I say simple, I don't mean easy, clear. I mean undeniable. I mean impossible for your brain to negotiate with. Here's how it works. You choose own promise, not 5, not 10. Owning something so small you can't break it. 5 pages of reading, 10 push-ups, 15 minutes of deep work. Something that doesn't overwhelm you, doesn't scare you, doesn't require you to become a whole new person overnight. One small promise that you can keep a daily for 7 straight days. And listen carefully, you miss a day, you restart the 7 days from 0. No excuses, no loopholes, now double tomorrow. Oh. This isn't about the task. This is about rebuilding your trust in you. And I know some of you are already getting uncomfortable, already negotiating in your mind, already trying to find shortcuts, because keeping one promise every day forces you to face the version of you that breaks them. It forces you to confront the part of you that retreats when things get inconvenient. But that discomfort is exactly where the transformation begins. Because when you keep that one small promise, day after day, something shifts inside you. Something powerful, something you haven't felt in a long time. You start believing yourself again. You start respecting yourself again. You start seeing evidence that you can finish what you start. Let me make it real for you. Imagine this, it's late at night. Your body is tired, your mind is drained, you're about to collapse into bed, and suddenly you remember your promise. The old you would say, forget it, I'll do double tomorrow, but this new version you're building stops, stands still, and says, no, we finish what we start. And you get up, you read the 5 pages, you do the 10 push-ups, you sit for 15 focused minutes. And when you finish, hear me. When you finish, something inside you roars back to life. Something ancient, something powerful, because you just proved to yourself that you don't quit when it's uncomfortable. You don't fold when it's inconvenient. You don't abandon yourself anymore. That's not who you are now. You become someone who finishes not just tasks, but cycles. Someone whose actions finally match their ambition. Someone who doesn't chase confidence. Someone who buy all sit. Someone your future family can trust. Your future clients can trust. Your future self can trust. You become trustworthy to your destiny. You become accountable to your calling. You become the version of yourself you've been pretending to be for years. And now I'm going to tell you the truth you need to hear, not the one you want to hear. You are the reason you don't trust yourself. And you are the only one who can fix it. Nobody can rebuild your integrity for you. Nobody can keep your promise for you. Nobody can step into your future for you. You must do this. You must decide. You must choose consistency over comfort. You must choose identity over excuses. So here's your challenge, and I'm telling you this with urgency, with fire, with love. Choose your one promise today. Start today. Keep it today. And when you want to quit, say it out loud. I finish what I start. I finish what I start, because you owe it to your dream. You owe it to your growth. You owe it to your future. And more than anything, you owe it to you.